Seances and spirit boards can also allow the dead to talk.
Trevor and I, we both met each other actually over the internet. We've been together for 4 years.
But eventually we decided to move in together, so we started looking online, and I found this house, one that just stood out to us for some reason.
I fell in love with the location. I was like, okay, this feels like home.
When we first went to visit for the viewing for the house,
First location was the basement.
the feeling when I first walked down was there was definitely some odd energy downstairs. It wasn't like an open, airy space. The first thing we noticed is this big old cistern. It's actually a well that's indoors. And in the old days, they would use that well for storing water, either from the eaves troughs off the roof, going directly in, or even putting snow for the winter inside to melt. It was really odd when I went down there first, because it's not something that you would expect to see down there. The presence of a cistern in there just gave it, like you're wondering what's beyond that point kind of feeling. You're just not quite sure why there's a darkness in that back corner area.
But a spooky cistern in the basement was giving off negative energy and filling them with a sense of dread.
Like you're wondering what's beyond that point. So we had an incident happen the first day that after we moved in, I was heading off to work in the morning.
Right when we woke up, Trevor was looking for the car keys.
And I couldn't find them anywhere. Around must have been for 10 or 15 minutes straight, and we could not find them anywhere. Has enough.
And I said, that's it. Put the keys back right where you got them. And then same spot that we checked a couple times. The keys were sitting right there.
I precisely know I looked at that spot.
There's numerous reasons why a spirit might import or manipulate or remove items from a household. Typically, it's to get the homeowner's attention because maybe that spirit wants help, or to engage and interact with those people, or sometimes the spirit might just have a certain affinity for an object.
The house was holding more secrets for her to uncover.
One night I was using the washroom, and all of a sudden I just heard actually, because it was around 9 o'clock at night, and that's the time sometimes he goes to bed at. I thought maybe he was carrying our cat coming up the stairs, going slowly, taking one step at a time, like step, step, step. I wanted to double check to see if that noise I heard was not. Went downstairs and asked that was him, of course.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting down in the living room, and Trevor came out and had said, was that you climbing up the stairs? And I turned around and said, no, I've been down here all this time watching television.
It couldn't have been him because there's no time for him to get from downstairs to upstairs in the time I came out of the washroom, so.
The basement remained a source of bizarre events.
When we first were checking out the cold room in our basement, once we moved in, we noticed there was an odd sort of feeling downstairs.
energy presence that's trying to push me back. But I could still feel the energy right there. Just more or less the feel. Hands pushing me back, trying to push me up the stairs, saying, okay, you're not welcome. It felt like a bunch of energy just coming right at you. Basically picking you up and throwing you off your feet, you landing 10 feet back. That's exactly what I was feeling.
Almost as if somebody was down there sort of either watching you or just some odd kind of energy coming from that back area where a cold room is.
It was like, don't come downstairs. Do not come downstairs. There was one incident that I was downstairs with Trevor.
We were cleaning up our tent that we actually had outside, and we brought it back in. So I was busy folding that up, putting it away.
While I was doing the laundry, I was facing the cistern. And it feels like somebody's down there sort of watching you. I was feeling this kind of presence though that you gotta look up and look over towards the cold room door.
That's when he noticed the activity coming from the door to our cold room.
I saw this hand reaching out, trying to reach towards Trevor was back was towards it. And all of a sudden it went back in.
Frustrated and unable to explain the odd events in their new home, contacted a medium, Jen.
I am a ordained spiritualist minister in the province of Ontario. So I do weddings and funerals, those sorts of things. But then I also have a passion for physical mediumship and work with individuals to bring them comfort, bringing their loved ones that have passed through so that they know that they're not on this earth plane, but they still are in the continuum and that they support them and love them and that at some point we'll be reunited with them.
So she's a very open person to everything paranormal, spiritual, and she's very accurate as well because she is a medium too.
The house was built in the 1920s. It is a brick house and on a limestone foundation. It's about a stone's throw from the Grand River, so you have continually running water, which puts out negative ions, which allows spirit to come forth. And it has stern in the basement, which again, when you have energy constantly moving, is another way for a spirit to be able to manifest.
Jen started looking for uninvited spirits in their home.
I had sensed that there was something upstairs. Since it's an active house, you can also pick up energies in a house of people. It's an imprint. So lots of sort of memories in a house doesn't mean that it's haunted or that there's spirits, but there's definitely sort of many years of family memories that are in that house as well.
Is there anyone here?
A little girl, blonde, curly hair, big blue eyes, and she was coughing and she still had that fever, so she was showing me that that's how she passed. So it felt like either scarlet fever or like a typhoid or something like that, of that sort of period. 1920s, 1930s, that sort of era of time. So I said, yeah, she used to go to the attic that way, and that's why you're hearing sounds of footsteps. She's in no way, problematic. She's just there and will probably always be there.
The energy in the basement would prove to be more of a challenge.
And as soon as I walked in, I could smell that swampy kind of damp. And I could see the wet footprints on the floor. So as soon as I walked in, I knew it, and then he appeared to me. So I could see him, and he was dripping wet, and he was in, you know, clothes that were sort of 100 years old. He drowned, because I feel it, so I could feel water in my lungs. I started coughing up. And just knew that he had drowned quite suddenly and unexpectedly. Got him feeling that he was safe and that I wasn't trying to banish him.
What is your name?
I got the name Andrew.
She was able to pick up the last name of Jackson.
One of the main reasons a spirit will actually verbally communicate with someone is often to share their story or to get a certain message across, whether they have unfinished business or unresolved issues, maybe from a traumatic death. Oftentimes spirits will actually reach out to share their story verbally, and so people will experience auditory phenomenon with paranormal incidents.
We wanted to do some research first to find out more information on the spirit himself. And we came across his name in an article about a boat accident that happened back in 1878. There was about 18 or 20 young people, all around the age of 20 years old. They went on what they call a pleasure cruise in those days, which was just like a modified rowboat that had a steam motor in it. They ran into trouble one evening that they were out on the water, and the rudder got stuck. Instead of turning away from the dam, got stuck and turned right into the dam and capsized. Now, not all the people perished on this accident. The two women that were with them, they escaped unharmed, but unfortunately the rest of the men that were on did perish. The bodies weren't found. They were all drifted downriver by the time they went to check. And Andrew Jackson was one of these men that was on the boat at age 19.
Quite often when you pass really suddenly and unexpectedly, you don't realize you're dead. It felt like he had a lot of things he still needed to do, so was having a really hard time moving on.
He ended up having family that owned the property that we're currently on. So what we think happened to our spirit's body is he ended up floating down the river and recognized the land that his family owned, which is now our property, and the spirit got off at our place.
Knowing that Andrew had really existed, it spurred the couple on to take communicating with the spirits to the next level.
We wanted to try to get some evidence of the spirits that are there and why they are there. We set up our night vision camera system in 2 different places. We set one up downstairs, and we also set one up in the attic upstairs. In that one camera that we had upstairs, we actually got some orb activity.
Roughly around 4 o'clock in the morning, there was a ball of energy that came across actually from the right-hand side, came in front of the camera, and it shot down towards the stairs.
It went from the camera all the way to the back and actually turned the corner and head down the stairs towards the stairs of the attic. So
This orb did move in a distinct fashion that would suggest that it wasn't dust.
we really want to find out more information about who this spirit is that is in our basement.
So a seance is an opportunity for the medium, which in that case is myself, to open up and allow spirit to come through and communicate. We have 2 skeptics. I always intentionally bring skeptics or people that have never sat in my seances before, so that you've got objective people saying, yeah, I can't explain what happened. So I think they were really excited about it. So we give spirit permission to use our energetic bodies in order to come through and communicate and give message and pass on whatever information that they want to do.
She was telling us that we had spirits in our house. There was a male and there was a girl, a child. And to date, we have met all of them so far, so she's been right on, so.
That was when Andrew interacted, things moved, there was banging, there was sounds, there was noises, all that kind of thing. So he was definitely there and interacting and gave some feedback about, things he liked and didn't like and things like that. We asked him questions.
Andrew, are you happy that we're here? Do you want us to move? The table actually did shift, and then it was pushed actually into me, basically saying to us, even to me, don't move. I want you here.
Andrew was stuck before we started working with him. Now he comes in and out at will because he just wants to see what's going on.
We believe that Andrew was looking for some connection, and we hope that now that we've done the research, we've communicated with him, he knows that we're open to communicating with him, that maybe it'll be easier for him to move on. And we hope that he is able to do that now.
She's just mischievous and she's lonely. She doesn't have anyone to play with. She doesn't have anything to play with. I get the impression too that her mother hadn't yet passed. So I suspect when her mother passes that she will then go along too. So quite often they'll hang out and wait until a parent has passed over, and then that parent will help them cross them over. It was just like a little kid that played strange. It was that sort of feeling, and just she was confused as to why her mom wouldn't come and talk to her, that kind of thing. I had said to them when I did a seance at their house, I said, look, you need to get her a doll or something to play with. And since they've got her a plaything, it's settled down. The keys have stopped moving, stuff has stopped vanishing. She's still there, but she's not causing issues with people being late and moving keys and things that are important.
Have a new understanding of their paranormal encounters.
I think it was more of a reaching out just to say, seeing if it could reach me. It was trying to maybe reach towards me to say hi. If it reached me far enough to touch me, it may have just touched my back, like tap on the back, saying, hey, I'm here. And that's about it. It wasn't a negative, like black shadow or something trying to take over you or something like that.
Oftentimes people have noticed that paranormal activity has decreased when they actually engaged in conversation and let the spirit share their personal story. Sometimes it's almost as if they're being the psychiatrist for the spirit so that they can get something off their chest, or to be able to set certain boundaries with the spirit and communicate with them and set those established perimeters. And a lot of times the hauntings will actually be resolved.
I feel that the spirits are not negative. They're not trying to harm us in any way. It's not poltergeist activity or anything like that. That's throwing things. It's just movement. They're moving things to let you know they're around. And I'm okay with that.
We've come to full understanding. We're here for you. You guys are here for us. Let's work together.
As long as we're not getting harmed or there's no trouble from them, then we're totally fine having them here.